today's video, I want to talk about Zac Williams and the bump. The bump against St Kilda Thursday night. It's drawn a lot of talking. The main trial by mainstream media has definitely run its course. As of filming this video, it's Tuesday the 9th of March. It's the morning. We've just received notification that we, as a football club, we're going to be appealing the decision. So I want to basically run through the hit, the classification, and I want to look at the precedents that have been set by the AFL. And I've got a great article that was posted on the AFL website on the 13th of July 2020, which gives examples and quotes from Michael Christian about the grading of the severity of the impact, which really is what I think the main sticking point here. And really the only way I can see us appealing anything is if we appeal the grading of the impact. So as it stands right now, the hit that Zac Williams actually executed, Christian graded the incident as careless conduct with medium impact and high contact, and that resulted in a 1-game suspension with an early plea. He also looked at an incident involving fellow teammate Jack Silvani, and I want to talk about this for a quick moment because I think it's going to relate back to the Zac Williams situation. However, no charge was laid due to the lack of force and the fact that Jack Sinclair was able to play out the match. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now, for those of you studying law in whatever area you are, particularly if you're doing administrative law as a subject, this hits you right where you're studying. This is actually a great test case because there's an argument to be made that there's an error in the administration of the law here. And I mean, I've noticed the commentary around it. The look of it is terrible. My first reaction was that's a week. However you classify it, however it turns out, that's probably a week, based on the fact that the AFL really are trying to stamp out these types of contact, these types of incidents. And for that reason, from the eye test, I thought he's in trouble. He's going to get a week. He left his feet. He hit the head. However, once the grading came out and it was medium impact, I mean, we as a football club, we have a due diligence to appeal this. I think there's an argument to be made that the grading of the impact should be low. Why do I say that? Well, let's have a look. I've got an article here, as I said. Riley Beveridge wrote it. Fantastic article. I'm going to put it in the link in the description below. And basically, there's 4 bumps here with 4 different outcomes. And basically, I want to show you what a severe, high, medium, and low impact situation looks like according to the AFL, and more specifically according to Michael Christian. And then I'll let you guys decide what you think from there. So let's have a look at the first one. This was graded as severe impact and referred directly to the tribunal. And this is a quote from Michael Christian. "We had Sean Darcy who left the ground and didn't come back on. I'm not allowed to release details of the medical report, but that was certainly taken into account. Other factors taken into account include the fact that he didn't come back onto the ground, the visual look of the incident, but also the potential to cause a more serious injury. We landed with severe impact taking into account all of those factors." Okay, fair enough. Now let's have a look at high impact. This is a bump that Dylan Shield made on Curtis Taylor. So Curtis Taylor was taken from the ground, given a concussion test, and then was able to come back onto the ground. Taking into account not only that, but also his medical report and the visual look of the incident and the momentum that Dylan had built and the force with which he hit Taylor, we decided the most appropriate grading was high. We took into account the medical report that we handed to us yesterday. We felt that the momentum that Dylan had built certainly sat within those potential to cause a more serious injury provisions. That was our determination. Okay, now we move into the medium and low, and this is really where it's relevant for us, but I thought it was definitely compelling to show severe and high. So medium impact, we've got a bump here by Brad Ebert. And what was said about this bump was, when we assess both of those, the Shield bump and the Ebert bump, in terms of the impact, we had one player in Curtis Taylor who went from the ground and had a concussion test. He passed that test, but he spent most of the third quarter off the ground before being able to come back onto the ground. That was starkly different to Harry Perriman's plight. He was able to get up in a few seconds and then continue to play. In terms of the potential to cause a more serious injury in both of those cases, there was a similar momentum built by both players and they've both elected to bump. In determining the impact, taking into account all of those factors, including the impact on the player, the visual look, the medical reports for both players, and then also applying the potential to cause a more serious injury provisions in both cases, we landed with medium for Ebert and high for Shield. So I'm already starting to see some similarities with the Ebert bump in the way that it was graded with these quotes compared to the Shield bump. So high for me is never really in the conversation, but it's good to see how the Zac Williams bump and the Brad Ebert bump have some parallels in the wording of the grading by Michael Christian. Now, before I continue, I do want to talk about the next one, which is low impact, which is what I think we're going to have to argue in order to get this decision mitigated to a lesser extent. So low impact, we're looking at Marlon Pickett's bump on Isaac Heaney. So here it is, and this is what was said. Isaac Heaney went to ground, but was only down for 2 or 3 seconds, maybe 4 seconds max, but he was able to get up and play on. Taking into account his medical report, the player reaction, and the visual look of the incident, we thought the most appropriate grading was low in that particular case. So for me, the precedents that are set are: for medium impact, we're looking at Brad Ebert's hit. For low impact, we're looking at Marlon Pickett's hit. Now, when I look at the description and I read the description of what Michael Christian just wrote for medium impact, the main difference I should say is that Curtis Taylor, he did leave the ground. He had his concussion test. He also spent most of the third quarter off the ground before being able to come back onto the ground. Now, in our case, Zac Williams, who hit Hunter Clark, it did not result in Hunter Clark having to be removed from the ground and then given a concussion test. He was assessed for concussion after the game finished. Now, was he showing symptoms? I haven't seen anything that suggests that he was showing symptoms of concussion. I'm not sure if it was just precautionary. At the end of the day, he did get hit in the head. It was a downfield free kick, as it should have been in that moment. And I think it was just more of a precaution to give him a concussion test. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe there is something in there where he did show signs of concussion, but I haven't read anything to that effect. So I'm only taking my opinion and my comment here based on the information that's available. However, when I read this Isaac Heaney description here, it says he was only down for 2 or 3, maybe 4 seconds. That's a tick in terms of Hunter Clark. He was probably down for 2 or 3, maybe 4 seconds. He was able to get up and play on. Hunter Clark was able to get up and play on. Taking into account his medical report, the player reaction, and the visual look of the incident, this was graded as a low impact hit. Now, I find similarities, and I would be arguing the case that the Zac Williams hit is low impact because Hunter Clark was able to get back straight to his feet. He played on, and he played very well, mind you. I can understand the visual look of the incident. It doesn't look good. It's not good. We don't want it in the game. There is a potential to cause serious injury if Zac Williams' intent was more severe than what it was. Now, listen, when you've got Mark Robinson going on AFL 360 and carrying on the way he did last night, Robbo, love you and respect you, but when it comes to administration law and such things, just take a seat, mate. Let Jared do the talking. It's not your realm. It was clearly Robbo doing the whole pub talk thing. Settle down, Robbo. It's all going to be okay, mate. Just like I said, take a seat, and when the big boy themes start getting spoken about, you can let Jared do that, mate. Zac Williams. Now, anyone who's played footy, anyone who's actually been on the arena and played in a serious game of football will know that the intent of Zac Williams, if he really wanted to hurt Hunter Clark and really put him into next week, he could have. He did not use his entire force to hit Hunter Clark in the head. Like I said, if you've played footy, I'm pretty sure you'll come to that conclusion as well. Did he do the wrong thing? Yes, he did. Should he have been punished? Yes, he should have. I think it was a downfield free kick, as it should have been. It was silly, it was dangerous, and had he hit him a little harder, he could have really hurt him and hurt himself. And as it stands right now, he's suspended for a week. So I do want to just highlight the precedents that have been set. And with all this information that we now have, we've been able to visualize it here. I want to turn it to you. Do you believe this was medium impact or low impact? I personally would be making the argument that it's low impact. Have a crack at it. Go to the tribunal. See what you can do. This is what you pay your lawyers for. Kind of got the juices flowing again. I haven't really been in this particular space in quite a few years, but it's always interesting when it comes up. And then when you hear people like Robbo talking about it, it just hurts the cause, because ultimately, before this has gone to the tribunal, before it's even being graded or assessed, we've had days of commentary about it. After there was an initiative by the AFL to make sure that decisions for such incidents were given within 24 hours. So I don't know what happened there. I get it was a long weekend, but the games went on. The commentators still got to say their piece. So I think we're well and truly into the AFL season now. We've got these issues coming up. It's important because ultimately you've probably got to set a precedent for the season ahead for such bumps. They don't want bumps to the head. However, we can only go off the system that is available to us at the moment. And this is what's available to us at the moment. This is how it was graded. And you can see a table here for severe, high, medium, and low impact. And my argument would be that this is low impact because Hunter Clark got up, because he kept playing, and because he didn't have any concussion test afterwards, immediately after the hit. So I'm going to lay it out all over there. This is going to be a fascinating discussion. At 5:30 tonight, Tuesday, 9th of March, the tribunal will hear the matter. So I wanted to get something up before that. But let me know what you think. If you think this is a Carlton conspiracy or an AFL conspiracy against Carlton, the conversation's not going to go very far, because whatever. Don't get me wrong. I love hearing the Carlton conspiracy theories because it's like a guilty pleasure. Like, I don't involve myself in them. I don't allow myself to get involved in believing that the AFL are out to get Carlton. However, I love reading what people can come up with because it's entertaining for me. And sometimes I get sucked in and sometimes I believe it. But no, let's talk about it seriously. Let's not do the Robbo mayonnaise the way he spoke about it. That is not professionalism. That is not how a well-respected journalist in this industry should be talking about such matters. Such matters need to run the course of law. And we can't just be sitting here having pub talks about administrative law matters. So that's my take on it. I think we should be definitely appealing this. And yeah, I'll leave it to you. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think Williams should be suspended? Do you think this should have been graded as low impact as opposed to medium? Do you believe it was graded correctly as medium? Let me know in the comments below. Write what you believe and why. Let's get an actual discussion going. Let's not just throw pitchforks around, and we'll chat about it then. Go the Mighty Blues.